Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Friday, March 27th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to talk the two games on this Friday NHL slate as the week of unbalanced scheduling continues. No surprise there. We go a crazy week as far as that's concerned. We had the 15 games on Tuesday, the 2 on Wednesday. You go to the 13, whatever it was last night. Now 2 tonight. On the Friday slate. So just crazy, the lack of balance with the scheduling. But we do have two games. We'll get to that. David from Raleigh, who normally joins us on Fridays, is at a dentist appointment, so he'll be back on Friday next week with us. Last night was a big card, very entertaining card. You know what I noticed about last night? It's probably why I enjoyed watching some of these games, and I was trying to watch as much as possible. Of course, we had the NCAA tournament going on as well. So it was one of those nights where the remote is just never out of your hand and you're flipping around to all these different things. But I tried to watch as much of the hockey as possible. It was a very cantankerous night around the league. We had scrums, we had we had battles, we had physical play. We had a bunch of fights last night, which I'm never going to complain about that. But a lot of intensity last night, and it's probably par for the course as we wind down the end of the regular season and these games become so important. One of those important games was the Montreal Canadiens and the Columbus Blue Jackets, a nice 2-1 win for Montreal. And if you're the Canadiens and you're a fan of the Canadiens, you got to look at that game and say, this is what we need to do in the playoffs if we're going to have success. They can do it when they want to. They can win a low-scoring game. They can dig in defensively. They can shut things down. They can play good team defense. And once again, Jakub Dobeš in net was very strong last night for the Habs in that victory. Huge 2 points for them. Columbus falling just short, but my goodness, if it might be a tough night getting to bed for Mason Marchment last night. My gosh, the chance he had in the final minute of that game last night just whiffed on. That was their one opportunity. Dobeš was prone down on the ice, and Marchment had a chance to just sweep that puck into the empty side of the net to tie the game, and he just whiffed on it. Swing and a miss, baseball style with that. So that was their chance, ends up missing on it, and Montreal hangs on for a 2-1 victory against the Montreal Canadiens. The erratic, schizophrenic Seattle Kraken, if you can make sense of them, you're a better man than me. My goodness, last night, can't beat Florida, half the lineup out. They go into Tampa Bay, and they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-3 in overtime last night. Crazy shit with the Seattle Kraken. You just never know what you're going to get night to night, but they get the job done. We cashed the over in that game. Very happy to see that. Very much like that total. It gets there with the 4-3 Kraken win. I think Alex went bifecta on that as well with the Seattle and Tampa Bay. Yeah, exactly. So pretty easy win with that. And Seattle still hanging around. Do I think they're getting in? No. But at least it's a huge 2 points to keep them afloat, and they got a little bit of a benefit done to them by the New Jersey Devils, which we'll get to in just a bit for beating Nashville last night in regulation time. Philadelphia pounding Alex's Chicago Blackhawks last night, 5-1. Pretty rough night for the Hawks there in that game, but Flyers with a pretty good performance. We called Alex Bump up to the top line that he might be live to score a goal, and he sure did. Once again, another night where Chicago gives up 40 shots on goal. That's 2 nights in a row that's happened to them. So they're definitely not going to be thrilled. Jeff Blashill won't be thrilled with that, the shot allowance, and certainly Flyers carried the play, deserving of getting the 5-1 win there. The Islanders beat the Dallas Stars 2-1. Last night cemented it for me, Alex. It's going to take a lot for me to put a lot of money on Dallas the rest of the regular season. I think they're in one of these grooves right now where get the regular season over with, get to the playoffs. At this point in time, I'm looking at this as a situation right now with Dallas where, I don't see them putting pedal to the metal, full on intensity, full on focus, just full on all in every single night here, because they're in a spot where they're probably going to finish second in the Central. They're probably not going to get caught by Minnesota, even though Minnesota will get to them at a big win. So I'm looking at this as probably kind of a scenario here for Dallas where it's just, get this regular season over with. We'll finish where we finish. and get this playoff run underway. Because I get the sense that of all the teams just playing out the string that are in a playoff spot, Dallas is right up there. But the Islanders did get a nice bounce back after the debacle and the loss to Chicago with the 2-1 win. This was one of the games of the night, Pittsburgh and Ottawa. It was a great hockey game. What was unfortunately not great was Sidney Crosby getting injured. Just came back a few games ago. Ends up leaving the game due to injury, did not return, and now we wonder how many games he is going to be out for the Penguins, but just a bummer for them. And credit to them, though, gutsy, resilient, found a way to win. Malkin didn't play last night. Crosby leaves the game, and they still find a way to get past the Ottawa Senators 4-3. Still very shaky with their defense and their goaltending, but I will say this, Skinner last night made some big-time saves late in the third and in overtime of that game. It was a great overtime, back and forth. Both teams had a ton of chances, but it goes to the shootout. Pittsburgh gets the win 4-3 last night. Big point for Ottawa, though, because every point is significant at this stage of the year. I think both of us had a piece of the draw in that Penguins and Senators game as well. We had the over. We talked about it's now 10-1 run for the over in Pittsburgh games in their last 11 games. So another over cashes for them. A very gutsy win for Pittsburgh. One of their, I think, if I'm Dan Muse, I look at that game last night. That's one of our best wins of the season, just with all the adversity we faced, losing our captain, and found a way to beat a red-hot team. Ottawa's been playing well. But I also mentioned and why I like the over yesterday, and it's something to point out, Alex. I was right on this. The defenseman being out for Ottawa. Eventually, you're going to start suffering, and you're going to get hemmed in, and you're going to start giving up goals now if you don't get some of these injured defensemen back. I think Jake Sanderson is close, and boy, do they need him.
Yeah.
Close.
Yeah, they do.
Back. But you can tell upwards of 5D being out. That's not ideal for keeping the opponent off the scoreboard, and we saw that last night for the Ottawa Senators there. Thanks, Minnesota. You just robbed us of a great-looking draw bet there. Florida had tied it late in the last minute of that game, and unbelievably, in the last, 4 seconds, Joel Eriksson with the game winner to give Minnesota a 3-2 victory over the Florida Panthers. That freaking close to a draw, and that was a draw liked quite a bit. But unfortunately, it is what it is. But a nice 2 points for Minnesota. Took care of a team, they probably should have beaten, considering all the personnel issues right now for the Florida Panthers. So nice 3-2 win there for the Minnesota Wild. Colorado beats Winnipeg 3-2. Solid effort on the road from the Avalanche. They pretty much carried the play for 2 of the 3 periods. So deserving winners. This game had some rough stuff to it as well. Last night, Josh Manson laid a fucking pounding on poor Morgan Barron. If you saw the highlight of that fight, my goodness, poor Morgan Barron, kind of out of his element there. And Manson kind of took it to him last night in that one. But good win there for the Avs. They get the job done 3-2 over the Jets. San Jose, another setback for them as they continue to fade out of the playoff chase in the Western Conference. They do pick up 1 point, but 1 point's not going to cut it with where they're at in the standings. They lose 2-1 in overtime to the St. Louis Blues. Nashville, red hot, and of all teams to end their win streak, the New Jersey Devils with a 4-2 win against the Predators. Unfortunately, we land on a push with the best bet, which was the over in that game, over 6. But it is what it is. Devils get a 4-2 win, though. Give them credit. And like I said, offensively, they've been very good. This was it was a better defensive game from them tonight, I would say. For Jacob Markstrom, he was also solid in between the pipes, but Devils play spoiler and beat Nashville 4-2. Nashville still in a second wild card spot, but that was a 2 points you'd be hoping to get. We saw Anaheim with a 3-2 overtime win against Calgary, and how about all 3 goals from the same player, bargain bin special himself, Mikael Granlund for the Anaheim Ducks, plus 330. We do put another bargain bin winner on the board last night with that one. Great comeback by Anaheim as well in that game. I mean, just when you think they're down and out, they're down 2-1 in the third. Maybe it's not their night. Granlund on the power play to tie it late in the third. Granlund on the power play again in the dying seconds of overtime to win it. 1 second on the clock. 1.4 it was when Granlund scored in overtime. But just great resilience again by Anaheim. The cardiac kids, the comeback kids, as Tim says in the chat, Alex, whatever you want to call them. That's Anaheim this year. They're never out of a game.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you, did you have any piece of Granlund 2 goals or 3 goals?
I did
at any
not.
point?
I did not get around to
Okay.
betting that, and I'm so ticked about that. But yeah, just an
Yeah.
absolutely tremendous comeback, Alex, again by
Yeah.
Anaheim.
Yeah, no, this is what Coach Quenneville has brought to this organization. This is what we talked about way back in September when we did the beginning of the previews for the season. We said that this is going to be a different looking Ducks team, and all the things that they've been trying to build upon, all the stuff that Greg Cronin instilled in his time there, and all the stuff, the rebuild, we're starting to see it gel, right? And it doesn't work like that. Buffalo's rebuild, I don't even think this is really their season is really a part of their whole rebuild that we watched over the last 10 years. Yes, there's pieces obviously from those drafts and whatnot, but it hasn't worked in the same sense of where Anaheim is literally, we saw them torn down from 10 years ago, making the effort, getting the coaches, getting the players, building things up, and now to see it kind of, it's more of a solid rebuild that has fully taken place now, and to see this team still, I think, ahead of schedule in my opinion. I didn't think this team would be, okay, fight for a playoff spot, go over 81 points. We both like that. We didn't see them winning the Pacific Division potentially and being one of the top 4 seeds in this postseason. So that just shows you what top tier Hall of Fame coaching will do. And when young guys can buy into that system, buy into that play, and having the benefit of a really bad division. I mean, what else can we say? Like the Pacific, we don't trust any Pacific team to win the Stanley Cup right now, do we? We don't trust any Pacific team really to possibly even go and represent the West in the Stanley Cup final. But you take advantage of what's in front of you, and that's what Anaheim's done all year.
Anaheim looks like the team that I trust the most, and that's crazy to say that.
They are. Yeah.
But they are. They are. Edmonton keeps tripping over their own 2 feet. Vegas, we'll get to that game in just a moment. I mean, they're even worse shape right now than the Edmonton Oilers. Like I said, who do you trust in the Pacific right now? Forget LA. They're not even in the conversation of teams we trust. But Anaheim's got to be it. Anaheim has to be it right now. And it's just remarkable considering how much youth they've still got on that team. But it shows you when you got that Stanley Cup ring on the finger of your head coach, it can make a big-time difference. I have to play this, and because, look, he was in net for that loss last night against Calgary. He's been one of, if not the best post-game interview of any player in the league this year. He started last night, Devin Cooley, and he's been delivering these kind of pressers in the post-game all season long. And you would think last night, though, after that kind of loss and losing in overtime and heartbreak to lose like that, 1 second left in overtime, maybe Cooley would be not his usual flamboyant, exuberant self when he was talking to the media in the postgame. Not the case. Same old Devin Cooley. I mean, this is as good a 1 minute, 50 seconds as you'll hear from a player. Like, seriously, he has been that entertaining, that insightful, that charismatic, that, just something different, breath of fresh air when you listen to him address the media in these post-game interviews. But this was Calgary Flames goaltender Devin Cooley last night following a very, very tough overtime loss last night to the Anaheim Ducks.
We were surely going to see it with 1 second to go.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's probably the most emotion I've showed all year. Maybe because I talked about showing emotion that was already in my head. But, man, that one stings. Like, just a couple seconds left off the stick and then just over the shoulder. I saw it all the way, and I was like, oh, I got it. And then, boom, last second over the shoulder. So that stings a lot. But overall, I thought our team played really, really well. Pretty boring for the first period or two. And then things started to get going in the third period. And then, it was a lot more fun in the third and OT. But not much in OT either, No. I think they should make the rule where you should not be able to go back over the red line and then just force it a little bit. I think it'd be more entertaining. I don't think it'd be good for goalies. Probably be bad for my stats. So maybe they should have a separate category for overtime stats. I think that would be better. And
I think your defenseman, it was up to 11 block shots for you.
Oh, they were sick. It was so cool. And it just fires me up so much. Like, I could be so tired or whatever. And then it's like, oh, wide open one timer. And then just our D come out of nowhere and sacrifice the body. Like, people say goalies are crazy. I think defensemen and people who have to block shots, they're way more insane because they don't have any of the gear. Like, it's rare that as a goalie, you get hit with a shot where it hurts. But these guys have no gear on and they're sliding head first into like one-timers. It blows my mind. So I think they're a lot crazier than we are.
How about that, man? How about that? That's about as good as it gets right there.
He sounds like a
Devin
fan at times. Like he's so relaxed, and he's a great guy to have. It's unfortunate, right? When you're on a bad team, that sucks. But he's a great guy, I'm sure, to have in that Calgary locker room when things aren't going well.
Yes.
And things haven't gone well at times this season for the Flames. But he's got to be one of those guys that keeps everybody, fresh and upbeat, and you don't see enough of that in sports. Fuck, never mind hockey. Like it's just true, candid, just open fashion. That's refreshing to hear, honestly.
Yeah, I think I said he's at or near the top. He might be number one now because this is every night. You get something interesting. You get him, obviously, giving you some different thoughts and different opinions and just refreshing. He's always full of energy too. And maybe it's because I'm kind of like that, just sometimes too much energy for my own good. But he's got that kind of like just wound up. Because look, I'm wound up. I'm not going to shy away from that. People know that when they listen to me. He's got that in him too, Devin Cooley. So, like I said, that's what makes him an interesting listen and beyond interesting. Like he's been doing that all year. So, and he's had a nice, solid year in net. Let's not forget that too for the Flames and giving them quite a bit as far as that's concerned. Yeah, Vegas, big game last night. This was a great hockey game. Now, I don't know how many people saw it because it was up against NCAA tournament on CBS and Turner. It was there was the Sunday Night Baseball Dodgers opener for NBC, big network. So you don't know how much this people were tuning in and just, dialed into Vegas, Edmonton throughout the night on ESPN. But if they should have been, it was a great game, a terrific game. It had tons of animosity, bad blood. Remember, there's a good likelihood now these teams are facing off against one another in the first round as things stand right now. So this game had everything you could ask for. Very entertaining. It goes obviously into overtime, and Evan Bouchard wins it with 1:50 left in overtime, 4-3 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas just, there's something or other that is keeping Vegas from winning games right now. A bad defensive blunder at the wrong time, a bad penalty taken at the wrong time, goaltending, not getting a save consistently from Aiden Hill or Schmidt, offense in the doldrums. Well, last night they scored 3, but for the most part, this is an offense that has been silent and not scoring of late. So there's concerns galore right now for the Vegas Golden Knights, and I think there's probably still concerns for Edmonton, but at least with this Oilers team, we've seen them the last 2 games pick up some nice wins against Utah and Vegas. Connor Ingram was steady. I won't say great, but he was steady, and I still trust him a little bit more than Tristan Jarry. I mean, we have to have the conversation that Vegas could still miss the playoffs. It could still happen. I'm not saying it will, but now the door's open. LA is now closing the gap. The LA Kings are closing the gap, and they are the last team out right now in that Western Conference race. So Vegas needs to get their SHIT together in a hurry, or they could honestly find themselves. I know I should just say it, the word, but just
it's funny. It's funny you spelling it out.
Yeah. I mean, nothing's guaranteed with the way they're scuffling right now. I've seen these collapses before. It's a different sport, but do you remember Boston Red Sox with Terry Francona and the chicken in the clubhouse, and that team just completely face planted in the last couple weeks to month of the regular season? We're seeing this kind of play out right now with the Vegas Golden Knights, and I don't know what they can do at the moment to turn it around, but it could happen, no question. And what this Edmonton win does for them, even though Anaheim got the 2 points, is that it sets up, like if Edmonton wants any chance to track down Anaheim for first in the Pacific, Ducks and Oilers play each other Saturday night. That's going to have to be a must for Edmonton to win that, and probably win it in regulation if they are going to end up, obviously, catching them. So that's going to be imperative right there for the Oilers to win that game. Big matchup Saturday night. And we wrapped up the night with the Kings shutting out the Canucks. Even the Canucks are so bad that even LA didn't have a struggle to win that game last night, 4-0. We did have over 5.5, but we did have Kings team total over, so we get a split there. Alex, anything you want to add from Friday? Or from Thursday?
Just a couple of bad beats with draws. You mentioned that Wild game was just infuriating because it was playing of a pace of a draw the whole way, And then you finally get that tying goal late for Florida, and you think, okay, now we can relax and get this thing finally into overtime, and then Joel Eriksson with that crazy rebound goal. I mean, just, it's still, once again, not a great game for Minnesota in the sense of where you got half of Florida's top players out. You should be winning that game and controlling that game and keeping that pace and not letting them get back into the fight. Once it's another bad third period. The third periods for Minnesota are where they just, I don't know if it's a combination of they're just tired and they're losing steam. Of course, we talk about, like I said, the passing hasn't been much, it's looked a little bit better last night, but it's still not where it was when this team was playing its absolute best hockey. So like I said, I have more concerns with Minnesota heading into the playoffs, and not just because of their history, than I do say Dallas. Because the other night, even with Dallas with another loss, this is a team where I'd like to see Dallas, win some games heading into the playoffs. Yes, it's not necessary. They know what their road and their path is as a team that's been in the conference finals a few times over the last several years. But also, there's a reason why we've seen that team fizzle out in said conference finals the last few times over several years. You need to keep some momentum going. I think if you're Dallas, I'd like to see Dallas and Minnesota ideally win 3 or 4 of their last final games heading into the playoffs. I think those are two teams that need to catch some kind of fire if they want to have not just winning that first round series, but making another deep run, because there's just, there's teams that have that where they can float into the playoffs, back their way into the playoffs, and then turn that switch on once it's game 1, round 1. Minnesota's a team you can't trust to do that. And Dallas is a team that they've played so much hockey. You wonder maybe it starts to build up. That's maybe the thing with Vegas too. Now, Vegas hasn't necessarily gone in the deep runs after winning the Stanley Cup. They had a second round exit and a first round exit. But maybe those core guys are just running out of steam after having 4 years of playing top flight, meaningful hockey. It happens. And that maybe seems to be the case. We talk about Aiden Hill, his struggles. He has not looked anywhere near the goalie that was a top 10 quality goalie winning a Stanley Cup 4 seasons ago. You've had Stone with the injury issues. Eichel, like you said, you can't find him with a telescope lately. All the important pieces for Vegas have been struggling and kind of in the same time, same grouping. And that's why we're seeing them kind of fall out of the race. I can't stand Seattle. I really don't want to see Seattle in the playoffs because of how unpredictable they are. Yet, for my futures and tickets that I have, I'd like to see LA and Vegas out, because I have both those missing the playoffs, and to see Seattle maybe make a run and get into the postseason. So, from a betting standpoint, I'm kind of confuzzled, because these are 3 teams I don't care for, but 2 of them I want to see out of the playoffs, and the team that I don't like the most, I would like to see sneak their way in. Like I said, it's just been weird with the Pacific, for sure. Hawks game, absolute mess. I mean, that's just what you're going to see now at the end of the season. You're going to have guys playing well. Anton Frondell, once again, looked fantastic. Nearly had his first goal. That what ended up being the primary assist to Connor Bedard was actually a goal attempt. He was trying to wrap that puck around, and just so happened it hit off the stick of Eriksson, bounces right onto the stick of Connor Bedard. He gets his 30th goal of the season. But Frondell looks very comfortable. You think about all the guys who've been called up to the Hawks. Think about Nazar last year, how he looked very comfortable early. Renzel and Moore and Lefshunov have had their issues. We've seen them sent back down at times. I don't think we ever see Frondell get sent down, to be honest. If he has this kind of composure and poise right now, the first 2 games we've seen him play in his NHL career, he could be with the Hawks and be on that top 6 for a long time to come. I think, we try to find that secondary piece to help out Bedard on that top line. Frondell may be that guy that we thought Nazar could possibly be, or thought Burakovsky could be. Burakovsky's had a mess of a season, but I'm really impressed with what I've seen with Anton Frondell the first 2 games in a Hawks uniform, and we will get to see him again tonight.
He looks poised. Stage doesn't bother him. The spotlight doesn't bother him. He's used to playing with men. He did that over in Sweden with the Pro League there, Swedish Hockey League, with Djurgårdens. He's not scared of anything. He's looked very confident, poised, and that's what you were hoping to see, I think, when you put him into the lineup. And we've definitely seen that here for this Chicago Blackhawks team, no question. All right, let's turn our attention to Friday. We've got 2 games on tap. We'll begin with what's clearly the bigger game of the two games tonight. We've got the Detroit Red Wings taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Looks like current line has Buffalo around minus 150 home favorites. The total here sitting at 6. Looks like we've got that pretty much across the board here, shaded to the over in this one. Both teams off losses. Now, the Detroit loss was very disheartening. Ottawa's riddled with injuries on the blue line on a back-to-back after playing in New York, and Detroit rested, waiting at home from Saturday when they lost to Boston to Tuesday, no travel, and you still can't get the job done and beat the Ottawa Senators. It's a very disappointing setback and loss for Detroit. The game's become even more important for them now, based on where they're at in the standings, on the outside looking in, as far as the wild card race in the Eastern Conference at 84 points, 2 behind Ottawa. And Ottawa's not even in a playoff spot right now anymore after last night. The Islanders are, with the win they got against Dallas. So the Islanders are at 87. So Detroit's 3 points out of the second wild card, 4 behind Boston at 88, and now 6 points behind the Montreal Canadiens, who now sit third in the Atlantic Division. So it's getting more and more dire for Detroit. Like, you got to start putting W's on the board, and it's got to start tonight. But the problem is it's got to start against one of the hottest teams going in the NHL, coming off a loss themselves in overtime against the Boston Bruins on Wednesday night. We kind of worried about that spot for the Sabres. I did, for sure, coming off the West Coast, the Cali trip, that maybe they would have a bit of a struggle against the Bruins, and they sure did in that one. We'll see how this one plays out between the Red Wings and the Sabres. One thing that's interesting to note with these two teams is that 4 straight meetings, we've seen at least 6 goals between them. So it's been a pretty high-scoring series between them. And if you go all the way back to every regular season game the last 2 seasons, so that goes back to October 26, 2024, we have seen 5 of the 6 meetings get to at least 6 goals between them. Will that be the case here tonight? The thing for me with Detroit is, they've kind of trended under. They've had trouble putting the puck in the net consistently. They've almost tried to resign themselves to play a little bit more lower scoring hockey. We'll see if that happens here in this game. So while the series history points to a strong case to be made for the over here with Detroit and Buffalo, I'm not totally sure that we're going to see this game necessarily fly up and over the total with the way Detroit's playing, the way they're kind of scuffling along offensively. And obviously in net, they've still got a very, very capable John Gibson, who's obviously been a big reason why they're even close to a playoff spot with the way he's played. I would expect Alex Lyon in net here tonight for Buffalo. They've been going back and forth with UPL. So I expect Alex Lyon, not to mention UPL, maybe not one of his better games against Boston the other night. Just thought he was not overly sharp. Was a little off in that game against the Bruins. So I expect Lyon to be in net here for Buffalo in this game. I see Chris Otto. Good to see him in the chat. 9 straight first period unders for Chris Otto. I hate to do this to you, Chris, but for me, it's a not so fast, my friend, because what I bet here is both teams to score first period. I'm taking a shot with that again. You got both teams off a loss, urgency, especially from Detroit. You got to come out here and get a lead and get some confidence, get some good feeling back in you again, because it's been a while since you've had that. And look, while they have struggled to score goals, one of those was that Boston game. They did put up over 40 shots. That was a great performance from Jeremy Swayman that night. They certainly did have their chances. You've seen multiple examples of Detroit versus Buffalo head-to-head. We've seen both teams pot a goal in the opening period here. So I'll probably wait for a 5.5 for the full game over, because I think if it falls to 5.5, I will bet it live at that number. But first period, for me, the only bet is the both teams to score. You'll get a good plus price on that. Cashed with it with Boston Buffalo the other night. We'll see if we can get back to the well with it here tonight. And I'm on the draw, too, here in this game with Detroit and Buffalo. It's pretty hard not to take it, because Buffalo has gone past regulation in 2 straight, 3 of the last 6. And the Detroit Red Wings, obviously, are a team that's played a lot of 1-goal games. Now, only 2 games past regulation in their last 10, but we saw 4-3 against Florida, non-regulation result, 3-1 regulation result against Montreal with an empty netter. Boston, that was flirting with overtime, 4-2. It was a 1-goal decision with Ottawa the other night. So there's been so many close 1-goal games that the draw, to me, definitely could have a shot here in this one. Alex, what do you think? Detroit, Buffalo.
Yeah, this is a draw season spot in the sense of where Buffalo, in their own race, trying to win the Atlantic Division. Detroit is trying to get every point they can to climb their way into that final wild card spot, or the third spot in the Atlantic. One of those two spots. They aren't really battling each other necessarily. So that's why this is a live game for the draw. I did grab a piece of that plus 315, and I'm right there with you. I'm waiting for that over 5.5 to drop. Now, first period over, I'm a little dicey on. I'm targeting more that full game over, but like you said, you're seeing a 6 right now at even money. Wait for that to drop to 5.5, maybe $1.20, $1.25, and jump in there. I have a bargain bid in this one. A guy who you don't see, priced in bargain bin range in this spot. So that's be one of the two that I do have for tonight.
Yeah, I knew that didn't look right. There we go. Fix the price on Buffalo there, minus 150. That was a typo. Yeah, as far as props for this game with the Red Wings and the Sabres, like I said, this is definitely the better of the more marquee, I should say, of the two games. I'm not saying Blackhawks Rangers can't be fun, but we got to go back to the well with Zach Benson. He's playing well. What a great goal that was for him to get. Just a hard-working effort goal for him against Boston to cash the bargain bin special for me with Zach Benson a couple nights ago. 3 straight games with a goal for him, plus 450. Still getting a great price for him to find the back of the net. As far as other options that could be worth a shot here in this Red Wings and Sabres game, it's worth noting, we've got Josh Doan has scored in 2 of the last 5, 4 of the last 10. Sam Carrick, we've talked about how he's chipped in offensively at times for the Sabres. So if you really want to go for some value, you can go in that direction. The guy that was been mostly in the AHL his whole career and has been playing for the Red Wings here the last few weeks, Dominic Shine, has actually been a surprising offensive contributor here for the Red Wings. So I don't even mind maybe looking in his direction. I've been impressed with what we've seen out of him. Now, Emmett Finney for the Red Wings, he's been playing with Larkin and Raymond on the top line. He's in concussion protocol, took a big hit against Ottawa, and he missed the last 6 minutes of the third period in that game. He may not go tonight. And if not, someone's going to take his spot on the left wing side with Larkin and Raymond. What I would recommend is check the starting lineup right before puck drop. You'll get it 30 minutes when they take the ice for the pregame skate, and look at possibly who's going to be up on that top line with Larkin and Raymond. If Finney doesn't play, whoever is going to be in that spot, that's going to be a good value prop bet in my mind here in this game tonight. So that's definitely something to keep in mind here tonight. Whoever's going to fill that void with Finney out, with Larkin and Raymond, whoever that ends up being for Detroit, probably going to be some good value there. All right, second game of this Friday slate, Chicago Blackhawks, New York Rangers, the proverbial playing for exercise matchup here of the Friday slate. We've got the New York Rangers right around minus 170. I'm even seeing minus 180 in some spots here with the New York Rangers as home favorites. The total here, 6, shaded to the over in this game. There is no freaking way under any circumstances, in no way, shape, or form, am I ever laying minus 180 with the New York Rangers at home, where they've been absolutely at their worst this season. There is not a chance I'm doing that. None at all. And they enter this game, what are they, 9-25 home record this season at Madison Square Garden. And yet here they are, probably because it's Chicago and it's a back-to-back spot for Chicago. Here they are, the New York Rangers, still laying minus 180. Now, the flip side of that is it's not a great spot for Chicago. I get it. Back-to-back, 6th game in 9 nights. No question. This is not optimal. Arvid Soderblom in between the pipes here for the Chicago Blackhawks tonight. Albeit, the last time we saw him in net, the Chicago Blackhawks are serving up a costly loss to the New York Islanders with Arvid Soderblom in net, and he was actually very good. Over 40 shots, you can't complain. Played a heck of a game for the Chicago Blackhawks. So can they get this done? I mean, obviously, look, if I'm betting a money line, it's Chicago or nothing. It's either Chicago or you pass the game. I can't do it with the New York Rangers at this price, minus 180, where they've been just absolutely miserable, dreadful all season on home ice. But I don't know. I don't know if I love this for Chicago. They played a lot of hockey in a short period of time. It's back-to-back for them. And quite honestly, Soderblom, after making over 40 saves and leading the Blackhawks to that big upset win against the Islanders, can he really run it back? Is he really capable of doing that? I see Alex shaking his head.
Nope.
He kind of is giving away the answer for that. Now, Jonathan Davis, I don't see him in the chat today, so I hope he's okay. He doesn't miss it doesn't usually have many shows where he's not in the chat. But one thing he's pointed out in the chat recently is the New York Rangers have been on a huge over streak on the road. But on the road, it's been really strong. Not so much at home. We did see the last home game for the New York Rangers stay under the total. That was the game against Ottawa, where Igor Shesterkin played so well in that game. It probably could have been 5-1 Ottawa if not for him. But guess what? There is no Igor Shesterkin starting tonight for the New York Rangers. It is Dylan Garand who's going to get another opportunity in net for the New York Rangers tonight, because Quick is day-to-day. They're not going to start Shesterkin. They're going to give him a rest tonight, and Dylan Garand will get the start. This will be his second career NHL start. He made his NHL debut in a 3-2 shootout loss to Winnipeg last Sunday. He actually played pretty well, all things considered. He only gave up 2 goals in regular time, 35 saves on 37 shots. He did play pretty well for the New York Rangers there in that game. So can he be capable? Yeah, perhaps. It is a tough spot for Chicago. I am going to sprinkle on this over 6. I think I kind of have to go in that direction. I don't fully trust Garand. I've got to see more. We only have 1 game of sample size, and he did play solid against Winnipeg, only giving up 2 goals, but we got to see more. Alex has already shaken his head. He doesn't trust Soderblom coming off a good performance against the Islanders, and I kind of feel the same way. Oftentimes when we've seen Soderblom play that great game, he's given up 4 or 5 the next time out. That wouldn't shock me here. So it's going to be over 6 for me, minus 120. We cashed a ticket with the Rangers over against the Leafs on Wednesday night. We'll see if we can get another one here. But again, I don't love it. I kind of think the Rangers are a stronger over team on the road than they are at home right now, but I'll still take a shot over 6 here, minus 120. Alex, Blackhawks, Rangers.
Yeah, like I said, this is one of those games. Roll the puck out and play for exercise, and I expect goals. 2 goalies we don't trust. Dylan Garand, like I said, still need to see more of him at the NHL level. But even with what I've seen from him in the AHL level, still he feels like a guy who can give up some goals in this spot. Soderblom off of a great win, always time to fade him. And at this point in the year, as a Hawks fan, you just wonder, hopefully this is the last few games we see of him, and maybe he gets traded in the offseason. That's all you can hope for at this point. So over 6, I'll grab a small piece of that, try and wait for to add a little bit more in game with a 5.5. I have goal scorer props that I like. One that I'll talk about later. I'd mentioned Anton Frondell. He is not bargain bin range. He is as high as plus 275, plus 280. So books are catching on to the fact that he looks comfortable and has had some quality chances, had an assist in each of his first 2 games. So that's something you can look at too, but I will be on his goal prop once again, plus 280, but I have somebody else in mind for bargain bin as well.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a couple of things right now because I'm interested in this, and I think I'm going to move on this. Chicago, their last 3 games, there's been a goal in the first 5 minutes of the game. The New York Rangers, last game against Toronto, the first goal was 5:15. McCabe scored to make it, but it was just missed, a goal being in the first 5. And then before that against Ottawa, the goal came, I believe, in the first 5 minutes of that game, if I'm not mistaken. No, 6:30, but it was close. The point being that the Rangers have conceded a lot of goals early. Chicago, like I said, for them, it's been 3 straight games where there's been a goal in the first 5. Either Chicago scored or the opponent has scored. Like, look at last night against Philadelphia. It was right away, bang. You could barely get in your seat, and the Flyers are up 1-0. So I'm going to dabble in that goal in the first 5 minutes. You can find that at FanDuel here with this Blackhawks-Rangers game. It's worth a sprinkle to me.
Plus 168. That's a great price.
Yeah, I think it is. I like that. We have Chicago looking for 4 straight games with a goal in the opening 5 minutes of the game. So I think at that price, it's worth a shot, no doubt. As far as props go for Blackhawks and Rangers, Anton Front. It feels like tonight on the big stage of MSG against this, Swiss cheese Rangers team, and obviously Dylan Garand with limited NHL starting experience. This could be a spot for Anton Frondell to get that elusive first NHL goal. I wouldn't talk anyone out of Lafreniere for the New York Rangers. Alexis Lafreniere has been playing really well the last few games, and it seems like the Panarin trade open the door for him to get just way more leeway, runway, if you will, with the Rangers. And he's kind of taken advantage of it. So that's definitely something worth pointing out. I think for Chicago as well, Green, Bedard, Frondell, Green could be a consideration. I'm going back to my guy from the Hamilton Bulldogs, Nick Lardis. He scored a couple games ago. He's on the second line right now with Nazar and Bertuzzi. So Mr. Hamilton Bulldog years ago, Nick Lardis, I'm going to go back to the well with him. Perreault with Lafreniere. We do want to mention, too, as far as this game tonight is concerned, Gabe Perreault, I've mentioned on the top line, is good value. It looks like Adam Sikora here has been recalled from the American Hockey League. Played against Toronto as well the other night. He's with Trocheck and Cooley for the New York Rangers. So if you're looking for him maybe to step up, you can look in that direction. They did call up the Drew Fortescue from, of course, Boston College. He's finished his college career, taken in the 2023 NHL draft, 90th overall. He's going right to the Rangers rather than to Hartford, but I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup tonight. It doesn't look like it. So we may not see Drew Fortescue's NHL debut tonight for them, but keep an eye on that. He might be making his Rangers debut and his NHL debut sooner rather than later, even if it's not tonight. Great stuff. Shout out to everyone in the chat at the like button. We appreciate it very much. WizardSportsPicks.com. I did the Beyond the Lines video for the site today. Check that out. NCAA tournament rolls on. MLB now underway. NHL and NBA still on a daily basis. Number one on the site in NHL and college basketball this season. So get on board at WizardSportsPicks.com. And, of course, Patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 per month. Goalie charts, totals charts, daily betting cards, sides, totals, player props posted each and every day on the Patreon page. The All Sports subscription Dub Club $50 off discount still available exclusively to Patreon Ice Guys members if you want to take advantage of that. And we have 4 Patreon exclusive live betcasts coming up in the month of April, exclusive to our Patreon members. We can't wait. We're going to do 2 in early April, end of the regular season, and then 2 more in the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, late April. So excited about that. Like I said, we're going to ramp up the betcast volume for our Patreon members in April. Definitely looking forward to that. So get on board. Now's a great time if you're not already. We're so close to the 400 Patreons mark as well. So help us get there. So get on board, just $10 per month. Your membership goes a long way to supporting the show and keeping it going long term. So check it out, just $10 per month. Get on board at patreon.com/Ice Guys.
And also check out the Ice Guys store, iceguys.myspreadshop.com. Got 3 days left, the entire weekend, to save 20% off all items in the store. Hit the redeem button at the homepage, add your items to the cart, and 20% will be taken off at checkout. So this is a great time to pick up a hoodie, a cap, a t-shirt, maybe all 3, and you can save 20% off the next 3 days. That's over at iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
3-day discount. Get on board with that. All right, bargain bin special of the night and best bets coming up right after we hear from our great Ice Guy sponsors.
Wizard Sports Picks, featuring the finest handicappers in the universe. Sharp insights, trusted picks, and relentless results. We strive to help you become consistent winners. This is Wizard Sports Picks.
All right, great stuff. Check it out. All right, bargain bin special of the night. We got another one on the board. Put another one on the board last night with Mikael Granlund of the Anaheim Ducks, plus 330. I wish I had gone Mikael Granlund hat trick for bargain bin special of the night last night. That would have been even better. But no, we'll take the plus 330. He got all 3 goals for the Anaheim Ducks last night. See if we can add to it here, even on just this slim 2-game Friday night NHL card. Alex, we'll start with you. Bargain bin special of the night.
Yeah, I got one from each game. First, we will start with Buffalo and Detroit, and you've got one of the greatest goal scorers of all time back in his hometown, and he's in rarefied air. The bargain bin price, as the great Pat Foley would say, plus tree over at that MGM. That's Sir Patrick Kane, anytime goal scorer, plus 333 for him. That's my first bargain bin special tonight. Second one, we go to the Madison Square Garden. You got the Hawks taking on the Rangers. Playing for exercise, should be a lot of guys who have chances to score here, but I'm going with, as you mentioned, Nick Lardis, who has been heating up. You can get him at DraftKings anytime goal scorer plus 500. So we're going with Sir Patrick Kane plus 333, and we'll go Nick Lardis plus 500. My two Friday bargain bin specials.
I always chuckled listening to Pat and Edzo do that on the Blackhawk games all those years. Yeah, that was good stuff. But yeah, that's a great price and a great spot. He's back in his hometown of Buffalo tonight. That is a good one with Patrick Kane in that, like you said, plus 333 range for him to find the back of the net. And Nick Lardis, no argument. I mean, those are good. Those are bets of mine probably on this Friday slate. They're not my bargain bins, though, but I do have two as well. I'm going back to Zach Benson, man. Have to. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, he's been great. He's been noticeable. He's been going to the front of the net. He goes to the blue paint. He drives to the crease to score his goals, and that's why the puck is going in for him right now. So Zach Benson, we're going to see if we can hit it one more time with Zach Benson of the Buffalo Sabres, plus 500 for him with my first of two bargain bin specials here for this Friday night slate. My second bargain bin special tonight is I'm going to trust the kid to do it tonight. Anton Frondell, Chicago. His first National Hockey League goal, plus 316 is the best price I was able to find with that. I think this could be the night that it does happen. And again, this Rangers team is very, very giving at the defensive end of the ice right now. So there you go. Zach Benson, plus 500. Anton Frondell, Chicago, plus 316. For my two bargain bin specials for this Friday night. All right, best bets. Alex, what do you got for best bet?
Well, not much for, best bets on a two-game card, but the best of the two that I like would be that Hawks Rangers over. Like I said, I'm going to play it small at 6, minus $1.20, and then look to add on a little bit more in the game and grab a 5.5. But I do like that over there. So give me Chicago, New York, over 6 is my best bet.
It's the best of the bunch for me as well. So, yeah, a dual best bet. We don't have these often, but two-game card tonight we do. It is the if I had to designate something as strongest opinion, it's that. I just think we've got a pretty loose atmosphere, two teams out of the playoffs. We'll get goals and get enough to get over that total. Chicago Blackhawks, and plus we got Soderblom versus Garand. This is not Ed Belfour versus Mike Richter in net tonight. Here in this matchup from back in the day. So let's go with that as well. Blackhawks, Rangers, over 6, minus 120 for my best bet here for this Friday NHL card. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Again, nice quick show today. It'll be a much longer show tomorrow. We got a big Saturday card on tap tomorrow night. Make sure, or tomorrow afternoon rather, at noon Eastern. Make sure you join us for that. Looking forward to it. And again, we've got lots of betcasts in April coming up. 4 on Patreon exclusive in the month of April. So make sure you check that out. And like I said, we're like less than 3 weeks left in the regular season. It's crazy to see that the regular season's got less than 3 weeks left in it. But here we are as the push for the Stanley Cup playoffs is coming down to the home stretch here. And like I said, we'll be in the playoffs in about 3 weeks from now. So looking forward to that. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we'll see you Saturday, noon Eastern, for another edition of the Ice Guys.